Hello, my Italian food fanatics. Today, we're going to make a custard pie with black cherries and blueberries. The first time I ever had this was at the San Remo Yacht Club in Italy. I had just spent about a week in Monaco, and I came into Italy and went into Genoa and then went up to Milano. That was my first trip that I ever made to Italy. And I had this dessert at the yacht club. Little did I know at the time, it was actually a French dessert. But because the border is right there, the food mirrors itself on either side of the border. It's very, very similar. Anyway, it is in France called a Clafoutis. It's from Limousin originally, but again, I had it in San Remo. And I have added blueberries to it. Over there, you can do it with all kinds of stone fruit, apricots, plums, peaches, nectarines. It will all work. This version I made with cherries and blueberries. It is phenomenal. Before we go into the kitchen and learn how to make it, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the bell button so that you know when I release another video. Share with your friends, because after all, sharing is caring. And leave a comment down below if you have a few minutes to do so. And if you've gotten this far, I think you do. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the kitchen and let's make this delicious dessert.
All right, let's get started. We, of course, are going to need sugar. That is one of the ingredients that is a definite must-have in this. Actually, they're all definite must-haves. This is some half and half. We have a little bit of heavy cream. We have, obviously, some salt. In fact, if you're going to make any sort of pastry or anything, even bread, you must add a tiny bit of salt. It doesn't seem like it's going to make any difference, but if you taste the final product side by side, it is a world of difference. We'll also use a little bit of all-purpose flour. We'll use a little vanilla extract. And we'll use some eggs, okay? These are pasture-raised. As you well know, the color of the eggs only denotes the breed of the bird, not the quality. But these are pasture-raised, they're organic, free range, and you can see all of the different types of chickens that must have laid these eggs. We'll process those in my special way in just a moment. And then, of course, we're going to use our stone fruit. Our stone fruit is obviously going to be cherries. And I'm going to add one other item. It is... they are blueberries. These are wild blueberries. And this adds another layer to our pastry that I don't think you've ever seen before. But let me tell you, the chewiness of the blueberries along with the freshness of the cherries and the custard that we're going to make is absolutely out of this world. So, what do we need to do? I've measured out most of the ingredients. We need to pit the cherries and we need to process these eggs. I will come back and we'll do both of those. All right, I've washed our cherries and now we need to take the pits out. We do this by removing the stem and then cutting around the cherry. I don't know whether it's going to be easier to cut this way or this way. I just cut around it. Remove half, obviously, and then I take my knife, press down, and pull back with my fingers, and the stone or the seed comes out. And there you go. That's how you de-stone or de-seed a cherry. You're going to get juice on the board, there's no doubt about it, and there's no way around it. Or you can do it the easy way and get a cherry/olive pitter, like I have here. The cherry goes in, you press, and the pit comes out just like this. All right? That's the easy way to do it. So you choose, you do it however you want. You could also actually leave the cherries whole. There's nothing wrong with that, and tell your diners that there are going to be pits and that they should watch out. All right? In some instances, it's preferable to do that because you're going to spend more time eating the dessert rather than just swallowing it and not tasting it, all right? Because it's so delicious that's what people do. They just gobble this thing up. So your choice. Either pit them or don't pit them. All right, let's deal with the eggs. Okay, here we are with our eggs. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm not a proponent of just cracking eggs into anything. First, I like to take the egg in one bowl, crack it open, and look, is there any problems with this egg? And of course, there are no problems. If any shells get in there, it's a lot easier to remove the shells out of the smaller bowl. We then take the egg, once it's passed inspection, put it into the larger bowl, and then we crack the rest of them in the same way, ensuring that each egg's integrity is good before it's put in with the rest of the eggs, because you don't want one bad egg to contaminate all of the others. So I'll crack all of these and we'll come back. All right, now that all of our ingredients are prepped, the process is extremely simple. We're going to take all of our liquid ingredients. Here's the heavy cream. And we're going to spin this up. And then what I like to do is intermittently add our flour. Now, you don't want a lot of air mixed into this particular recipe. We'll go on to our next step. All right, now we take a pie dish and we're going to spray this with a little bit of cooking spray. Now I use this particular one. It's called Pam Baking, and it ensures that at the end of our process there will be nothing that sticks here. All right, I'm not paid by them, but this is an excellent product. It's not exactly the least expensive item you're going to buy, but it sure is effective in what it does, and it's worth every penny that they charge for it. So there you go. We're going to let that dissipate for a second. Then we'll add our cherries, our blueberries, and our custard filling, and I'll be back in a second. All right. We have our cherries here now. We're going to add these into our pie tin. Some of them, from when I showed you how to remove the pit, are in halves. That's okay. This is a country sort of a dessert. It's not, I think it's refined by removing the pits. You don't need to remove the pits, but I think it adds a nice refinement. So we're going to add in our blueberries. You don't want to overpower the cherries with too many blueberries. So that's about enough, right? A couple of handfuls. And now we will add our custard. Depending on the size of your pie tin and how much fruit you have, you may or may not use all of the custard mixture. In this case, we used it all, and it's perfect. You want to try to submerge the cherries, all right, a little bit to get them underneath the custard there as best you can. And we need to prepare one more thing for this, and I'll come back with that in just a moment. All right. I have here a roasting pan. It's the same one I use to roast a turkey or anything for the holidays or anything big, or roast bones for stock. It's a multi-use pan that every household should theoretically have. I'm now going to put our custard mixture inside of here. I'm going to give it a couple of bumps just like this to ensure that if there's any air bubbles in there, you can see them coming, that they will get removed. And now we are going to add water so it comes up almost to the top, about 3/4 of the way up. and we're going to put it in a 260-degree oven, and we're going to cook it until it sets. Now, obviously, with different ovens, I can't tell you a time, between an hour and an hour and 3/4, what have you. Just, you'll have to come back and test it. You're going to taste it at the end, but you'll need to test it intermittently to make sure that, number one, it's cooked, and number two, that it's not overcooked. And we'll get to that in just a moment. I'll be back with a little bit of water. All right, I've been pouring water into our pan, and I just wanted to show you how I do it. And that's off to the side like this, to ensure that none of the water goes into our pie pan. All right? So it is about 3/4 of the way up now. And now comes the most difficult part of the entire process, and that is moving this pan into the oven without water going everywhere, or the custard spilling or turning around. So what I suggest you do is get it as close to the oven as you possibly can. Get somebody to help you, and slide out the rack. You don't want to inadvertently burn your arms and then, of course, drop everything. I've seen that happen. What you want to do is confidently place it on the rack, and then very slowly and meticulously push it in. You don't worry about losing heat in the oven and all of that sort of a thing. It's going to cook very slowly anyway. All right? So I'm going to do that, and I will come back when we're done with the cooking. All right, our stone fruit custard pie is done. It's still just slightly underbaked, and the reason why I do that is because the carryover cooking will ensure that it finishes cooking, and you don't want it to overcook. All right, so it's just now barely done, and it will finish the final cooking in a few minutes. So we're going to leave it out. I'm going to take it out of the water and put it on a wire rack for at least 2 hours before we unmold it. All right, I'll be back with the wire rack, show you everything. Give me 2 seconds. All right, just like we do with pizza, we're going to put the custard pie on a wire rack, and we're going to leave it there for a minimum of 2 hours so that it completely cools down. Then we'll unmold it. We'll add a little powdered sugar, and we're going to go to town. How sweet it is. See you in a little while. All right, my Italian food fanatics. Well, here it is. I've cut a piece out of our custard pie. You can see the cherries kind of floated to the top and the blueberries kind of floated to the bottom. It's still a little bit warm. Put the confectioner's sugar on there, and now let's see how delicious this happens to be. Wow. Nothing beats fresh cherries. In ripe and in season, of course. And then the texture of the custard, it's perfect. It's not overdone. It's creamy, it's smooth. And those blueberries, they add little pops of flavor on the inside. They're wild, dried blueberries. Oh, the combination. I love blueberries. I love cherries. I love custard. It's phenomenal. You could serve this also with a little bit of whipped cream, although that's not traditional, or chantilly cream. You just take regular heavy whipping cream, add some sugar, a little bit of vanilla extract, and whip it up. Serve it on the side or on top.
of each slice, and it would be phenomenal as well with a little bit of powdered sugar. I'm going to eat the rest of this piece. Anyway, before I let you go, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the bell button so you know when I release another video. Share with your friends. Sharing is caring. I want to thank you for being a part of our channel. It is a symbiotic relationship. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a great day. I wish you good health, happiness, and prosperity, and I'll see you in the next video.